Hey guys, Nick Showman from Showtime Strength. Today we're going to do a deep dive into the bench press. We're going to show you some exercises that will help push your bench press, how to structure your bench press training, and common weak points and common misses, we should say, and how to fix those and the exercises to fix them. All right, we need to cover the bench press because I think it's everybody's favorite lift to do. So let's talk first about if you're missing. All right, let's say probably everyone thinks I missed my bench at the top, right? And like the deadlift, that could mean you need more top end work, but it's not 100% certain. So instead of saying, oh, well, I missed that bench press here, all right? So that's right at lockout. So I need more triceps, more triceps. What you need to do is examine the start, the bottom, and then the actual press itself. So start, how do you start the lift? So right away, where's the bar at? All right, when you're at the bottom, what's your position like in the bottom? Right? When you start the press, what does that look like? Right? There's a lot of factors that goes into each of these positions. All right, so they can lead to you missing at the top, and it could just be that your body can't be under the tension the time you're placing it under, so it's running out of gas. All right, so at the start, we need to make sure, and again, these are just the most common ones that we see. So pull the bar out. All right, so if I'm benching and I just pull the bar here, now I go straight down, well, now you can see that's not a really great position. I didn't pull the bar far enough out. But if I go here, now I'm using my lat muscles, and now I can pull it down in a straight line. My arms are at a nice 90 degrees. I'm actually using my tricep and less of my front delt to start the movement, so it's in a more efficient pattern. All right. And even before that, hand placement, air, all right, so hand placement. Are your hands even? You would be amazed at how many meets we've been to where somebody's 2 finger widths off from one side to the other. All right, and again, to most people that doesn't maybe sound like a big deal, but what you're doing is placing an uneven load on your body, and that's the last thing you want to do when you're lifting maximal weights. Air. There's a whole lot of people that don't know how to take the air, like a lot. So what we teach people is you're set up on the bench, you're laying down, all right? You have somebody lifting the bar out for you. You should go raise up, take the bar out, press it, all right? If you're doing a countdown, then it's really hard to stay tight. All right, with that air, you're trying to expand and raise up. All right, I've seen people that can essentially cut about 1.5 inches, 2 inches off their stroke. So when you're talking about being efficient, 1.5 inches down is also 1.5 inches up. You don't have to press. That's 3 inches of work. So again, if we're looking at missing a bench right at lockout, now you're talking about your body's being under tension 3 seconds less time. So again, when we were with the maximal weights, big deal. All right, so then the handout, I think anybody that's been around gyms long enough has had that handout from a guy that didn't know what they were doing, just upright rode the bar and then drop, just whoop. All right, so I think Josh handed out to me in almost every single one of my competitions, because we had our own system. We had a timing down. He knew what to look for on me. I knew what to look for with him handing out, how he would let go of the bar. Everything was right. So those are some very important things. Hand placement, air, your hand out, and pulling the bar out far enough. If all of those are off, then there's no chance that you're gonna have the best bench possible. So in the bottom, you'll see people collapse. All right, so I just wrote all those down at once. At the bottom, you need to think about being up to the bar. All right, so look at the position I'm in right now, and then if I collapse, now look at this position. So this is my base of support. And just without a bar, even in my hand, I can feel more pressure in my shoulders. So here, I can feel all the pressure loaded up in my triceps and my lat muscles. That's gonna give me a much stronger base to press off of than this, all right? And with that, now you can see the difference in my elbows. So here, all right? So elbows right here, elbows right there. If you see people tear their pecs or get shoulder injuries while bench pressing, I would say it's almost always because they get in these positions. And again, just doing it without a barbell in my hand, I can feel the extra stress through those areas. Where you touch. And I know that this can depend, the ideal place to touch is gonna vary based on the size of the lifter, if they're in a bench shirt, if they're raw, if they're in a single ply bench shirt, if they're in one of the rubber band shirts. I know that all plays a factor, but you need to touch the same place every time. And even in your training, if you're using boards, so let's say you're taking a bench out and you're hitting a 2 board, you don't need to hit here because a lot of people will hit high. What you need to do is take it out and hit the same place that you would in a competition if the boards weren't there. So that's actually working that specific movement. Once you start, a lot of people you'll see hit high because the board's there, so they think that they're actually in the right spot. But again, you need to take it out and hit in the same spot you would if the boards were not there. So now on the press, and we sort of talked about, the elbows, pressing from a collapsed position. No leg drive. This is a big one. If you don't know how to use your legs to start the bench press movement, you are leaving pounds on the bench press, like a lot of pounds. Your legs are a lot stronger than your upper body. When we had a good bench group with Big Josh and Joe, you could see the bench was scooting back every workout. We'd have to move the bench back because it was moving, right? That's from people getting so much leg drive, and you can go with your feet out, your feet tucked back, whatever's most comfortable. Most big guys will go with their feet out because their hips will not allow them to tuck back. Then wrist position. And what I say by wrist position is you want to be about like that. You're not going to be perfectly straight, but just like that would be good. You don't want to have your hands like this because that's putting a whole lot of pressure through the forearm. And it's just not that strong. That's how a lot of people end up dumping the bench bar. So on the press, elbows collapsing, no leg drive. Another one, heaving. Heaving's a big thing. When you see people do this and then they try to heave it up, really strict competitions will call you on that and it'll be a no lift. So get used to not doing that. All right, so now let's talk about if you're missing in those places, what do you do? All right, so let's say off the chest. And these are example exercises. These are ones that either I use personally or we used with our lifters here that carried over pretty generally well. It wasn't like one exercise worked for one person for one competition. These are ones that work pretty well always. All right, dumbbell bench. After each bench workout, we do some variation of dumbbell bench. It could range from a 10 rep max, work up to a heavy set of 10, up to a heavy set of 20, or, whatever it might be, but you got to get that work in. This is probably for speed off the chest, like getting it to here. As people push their dumbbell benches, that is probably one of the biggest exercises that I saw help. All right, mini band bench, that teaches acceleration. For raw lifters, I think it's super beneficial to get here, pause, 1/1000, press. All right, this teaches acceleration, teaches you how to lock out that top end strength. especially for raw lifters, I don't like really anything more than a mini band. It just seems like it's too much of a variance. Dumbbell, then close grip bench press. It doesn't have to be super narrow, you know, none of this. Just put your hands like where the knurling is. That's generally a good place to start. Then train your back, train the shit out of your back. Do 2 to 4 exercises before your upper body workouts. 2 to 4 sets before, just to get blood. All right, it's just some slight hypertrophy work, just some activation stuff. But then also do your heavy back work within your workout. I always prefer to do my heavier back work after my max effort stuff. That way I had all my heavy stuff on one day, then on my dynamic effort day, it was all lighter stuff, so I do more machine rows and just contraction stuff, higher rep ranges. Your back is your support. So again, if I'm here and I'm taking a weight out, it's big, I'm big. If I'm here, all right, if I have no base, I don't have anything to press off of. You can come up with all the miracle exercises you want, but it's not gonna matter. Then the last one is the least sexy. Push-ups. Push-ups teach you how to move your body away from an object. So as your weights get heavier in the bench press, the goal is not to press the bar up as far as you can. The goal is to push yourself away from the bar. So drive yourself down into that bench pad. All right. Push-ups teach you that. I've heard people make excuses, you know, a lot of the guys over 300 pounds, like, I can't do push-ups. You know, I'm big. Same with, we talk about back work, doing pull-ups. I trained with guys 350, 400 pounds. They could do 10 clapping pull-ups, no problem. So the excuses are pretty invalid. So then let's say on the press, what are we looking for? All right, and this could be a few different things. So it's, again, I'd say dumbbell bench. Boards, and I like boards because you can stick them at certain heights. All right, so you have a 1 board, a 2 board, a 3 board, 4 board. 4 board I don't like that much for raw people, but boards do have a big place. Find out where your strength is, where your weakness is. For me, I was stronger off a 1 board than a 2 board. My 2 board was stronger than my 3 board. All right, so you can actually work on it, and you can slam the boards, you can pause on the boards. It all depends on what you're trying to do. All right, dumbbell rollbacks, is where you take the dumbbells like this, all right? And the goal with all tricep work is to not be here, all right? When you're here, you're placing a lot of stress on that shoulder. You don't want any more stress on your shoulder. So drive that elbow in and as high as you possibly can. What that's gonna do is that's gonna stress the tricep right here at the elbow. And guess what? When you go to lock out a big bench, that's the thing that locks out the bench. So those rollbacks, don't be afraid to go heavy. Go heavy as shit. I've seen guys do 110s on rollbacks, a 110 dumbbell in each hand for 10, 15 reps. Close grip board press with chains. And again, this was for me, and this wasn't always a max effort exercise, but it could be like a supplemental movement, so your exercise to follow up. And you know, might be a heavy triple, might be a heavy 5, something like that, but it's got to be heavy and it's got to be hard and done with intent to have a lot of good carryover. So now lockout, and again here, back work. I'll just put it here, back. All right, the stronger your back can get, the better your bench press is going to be. I think really you could increase your bench press by just getting your back a whole lot stronger and just doing normal bench training with no specific focus. All right, so lockout, boards, floor press. Floor press will really stress the triceps. Floor press, with chains, reverse band, and that's, so I say that the reverse band with caution. You don't need a reverse band if you're a beginner, novice, intermediate. All right, but as your experience goes on, you might get some benefit out of just a little bit of overload, just to help you lock out, even if it's just helping you speed through that sticking point. That's where those can come in handy, and you can do those if you're raw or equipped. It doesn't matter. Tape press. So tape press is where you take dumbbells like this, just go like that. Elbows out extension, again, just like that. And then dip lockouts. So get on a dip bar, and instead of doing a full dip, just get to a partial range of motion and focus on just extending the arm, just flexing the tricep to raise the body up. And then one more that I almost forgot. Pen press. I think pen presses are great because you can literally set the height that you want to press from. So it's just here, and you got to overcome gravity. So it's a great exercise. I think everybody would benefit from going close grip pen press, medium grip pen press, full comp grip pen press, setting all sorts of records on those. It can be done again as a main movement, a supplemental movement, however you want to program it in. So again, those are our exercises, and the biggest consistency really is your back strength. So now let's look at how to program your bench training, and I'll just use examples from what we did. So I won't talk about what other gyms have done. I'll only speak on what we did for our training. So we'll lay this out. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. All right, so then we'll have max effort, and then supplemental, accessories. So max effort, so this week be a close grip. So close grip going all the way down to the chest, and again, so you can rotate your close grip straight weight against bands, against chains, with a board. So you got all the different board variations. Week 2, we'll go 2 board press. All right, week 3, all right, mini band bench. Then week 4, floor press. All right, so you got 2 weeks of full range of motion, 2 weeks partial. Unless you're a bigger dude, some big guys, you'll see them touch their chest actually on a floor press, but definitely not on the 2 board. And then here's how I would wave it. So you have your 4 weeks, and this is mostly towards the beginners and intermediate guys. You could keep these exercises, and the first wave, the first 4-week wave, work up to a 5 rep max. And then if you want to get extra hypertrophy in, 5 rep max, then minus 20% for reps. So just do the same thing, just a drop set. Second 4-week wave, 3 rep max, and then a drop set. Okay, so then 4-week, or the 3rd week of the 4-week wave, you got a 1 rep max. Or you can also just rotate. So Week 1, I'm going to do a 5 rep max. Week 2, I'm going to do a 3 rep max. Week 3, I'm going to do a 1 rep max. Then on this floor press, so week 4, 5 rep max, and then rotate it back through. So now let's look at the supplemental movements. So now let's say dumbbell flat, dumbbell incline, dumbbell floor press, dumbbell decline. So with those in the rep ranges, again, you can do the same thing. So maybe we'll go backwards now. So the first 4-week wave, maybe we'll work up to heavy 10s. All right, then the second wave, maybe we'll go up to heavy 15s. Then maybe the next wave, we'll go up to heavy 20s. So heavy sets of 20, 2 or 3 sets. You don't have to overkill it, but just make sure you're pushing with a whole shitload of intent. And then your accessories, so that's where I'd go triceps, rear delt, lats. So examples of those, you can go rollbacks, elbow out, Tate, dips. So there's those. Face pulls, shrug, seated row. You can do your rows pulling real high. And then bent over fly. All right, so lats, pull-ups, pull-downs, rows. I really like underhand rows. And diesel rows with your feet up on the box. Any lat exercise is going to work. Again, so the accessory exercises, probably going to be in the 10 to 20. So think of these. So these exercises, your max effort exercises, are the exercises that are going to push your competition lift. Your supplemental exercises are the ones that are going to push your max effort exercise. Your accessory exercises are the ones that's going to push your supplemental exercises, which is going to push your max effort, which then is going to push your contest lift. All right, and so when you're picking your exercises, these are just exercises I'm picking based on the experience we had. So you need to find the ones that work for you the best. All right, now let's look at a dynamic effort wave. And we'll just use the traditional 3-week wave. All right. And in regards to percentages, I know there's probably 50 different percentage recommendations online, and all those people have their reasons based on who they're working with and the population that their experiences with. So what we need is, if you don't have a baseline, then it doesn't matter. So what you need to do, week 1, pick a weight, move it really fast. Week 2, add like a little bit, like 2.5 to 5%, move it with about the same speed. Week 3, again, 2.5, 5%, nothing crazy, move it with some good intent. All right, so here's some examples of a 3-week wave, and this is how I program some of my stuff as a competitor. I personally like the 9x3, probably the best. If you're in the off season and you need some hypertrophy work, 5x5 is not a bad way to go. And I like, so we're on our dynamic effort days, we're using 3 grips: a closed grip, a medium grip, and a wide grip, which is pinky on the ring. On speed days, don't really go past the pinky. So I would do 3 sets at the following percentages, and these are, again, my percentages. I knew how I could calculate, I knew I could go pretty accurate. So 30% for 3 sets, 35% for 3 sets, 40% for 3 sets. Then the following week, week 2, 35%, 40%, 45%. Then the third week, 40%, 45%, 50%. All right. So we keep the same exercises. So what would some exercises you could use? Bench with bands, that's a 3-week wave. Bench with chains, that's another 3-week wave. Bench straight weight, that's a 3-week wave. And then you can go all of those with a football bar, a buffalo bar. I just wouldn't recommend like a big buffalo bar. 1, 2, 3. So got 9 weeks, 18. So right there, just with those bench with bands, bench with chains, bench straight weight, football bar with bands, football bar with chains, football bar straight weight, buffalo bar with bands, buffalo bar with chains, buffalo bar straight weight. That is a half year of dynamic effort benching. So as a whole half year is already planned out for you. All right, so supplemental, you can do the same. You can do a couple rep sets on whatever, if you're benching with mini bands, 2 sets of 15 with a different grip on the bands, or you can again dumbbell bench, dumbbell incline, and maybe this week like a standing overhead press. And then the accessories pretty much gonna be the same: tricep, rear delt, lats. And again, so this is all about speed. Nothing, your dynamic effort is to build your max effort day. It's not to take away from your max effort day. I used to start with the traditional 50%, then add like 5% for 55, then go up to 60 on the last week, and it just beat me up too much. And I found that the more I dropped these weights back, the more I was able to recover, and the stronger my bench press was actually getting. My goal was not to be the strongest bench presser on a Sunday workout. My goal is to have the biggest bench press at a competition. All right, so this is a pretty deep dive in. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Feel free to email me, Nick at Showtime Strength, and please subscribe. Tell all your friends.